Hello, happy Wednesday. My name is Beverly Hosford, and this is Erin Nitschke. We are fitness professionals and educators in the health and fitness industry, and we're live today on Facebook for the National Federation of Professional Trainers, which is a personal training certification company. So we do a lot of writing and educating for personal trainers and yoga teachers and Pilates instructors and anyone that is teaching people about movement in the body, basically. And today we are going to talk about portion control, but we're going to talk about it with food and like on the plate, so to speak, but we're also going to talk about it in the absence of food and off the plate. And what I mean by that is we're going to talk a little bit more about lifestyle and portion control in your life. So we all know a lot about portion control, and we'll give you some tips for that, like with food, but we really want to spend most of the show today talking about how does portion control apply to everything else we're doing, to our stress, to our sleep habits, to our partying around the holidays and everything. The days are getting shorter right now, and so we're going to really talk about that concept today. So we hope you'll hang out with us. Thanks for joining us. If you just joined us, tell us where you're located. I am in Montana, and Erin is in Wyoming, and the NFPT is in Indiana. So we're all from different places. Hi, Billy. Life's not a fad.
I like it.
What's going on with you today, Erin? What's new?
Just enjoying the day. We actually, all of the snow that we had has completely melted. And I think it's supposed to be 60 something today, if I saw that right. A little weird. But, or maybe tomorrow it's supposed to be that warm. But yeah, Mark's got the rest of the week off. So we're just kind of hanging out, doing some family stuff. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I keep forgetting tomorrow is Thanksgiving. It's when you're a stay-at-home, work-at-home mom, it's like, oh, right, Thanksgiving is tomorrow. But
right, I better work on that casserole or something.
Husband is off from work, then it feels kind of more. That's how I feel. So yeah. Great. I see we've got some people joining us. Say hello. Tell us where you are. Tell us like your favorite food for Thanksgiving or something. So
yeah, good question.
I think I'm gonna make your sweet potato leek soup for Thanksgiving, Erin.
So good. Seriously, so good, so easy. Chop it up, throw it in the crock pot, boom, you're done. Love it.
I need to do something with my sweet potatoes, so I think I'm gonna try that out. I hope the people I'm eating with don't mind.
If they do, more for you. I'll come up and share some with you. I like it.
Totally. Billy's making some chili. So yeah, tell us what you're looking forward to eating. Here is Myra. Lucky Erin, snow's still on the ground here. Yep.
Hey, Myra.
Awesome. Well, let's dive in. So we're going to talk about food portion control and get that out of the way. Actually my husband this morning on his way out said that he wanted me to tell everyone that MyFitnessPal is this app he uses for portion control. It's a calorie counting app, and he loves it. And he said that he doesn't even use it all the time. He just uses it when he needs to raise his awareness, and it helps him count calories, monitor what he's eating, and report it. And so that could be something you do just through the holidays. Like maybe you're pretty good at staying on track the rest of the year. But I love that because he was telling me how he's like, I'm not even using it right now, but it kind of got me aware of what's going on. And he's like, I go back and forth between using it and not using it. So I love the idea of using an app, counting calories. That's basic portion control. And I'll go to you now, Erin, for something else about food portion control, because I'm sure you have plenty of goodies.
Oh, there's so much. Just to echo the point about MyFitnessPal, I do really like that app. I find it to be one of the easiest user-friendly apps because you can do it both web-based, so on your computer, or you can use it on your phone. I love that you can scan a barcode. But like any app, there's going to be downsides to it. It doesn't distinguish between added sugars and what's naturally occurring in the food. But I think as an awareness piece, it's so important because we don't really know how much sodium we're taking in. I mean, we eat, we're hungry, we eat something. We don't really recognize how much saturated fat or something like that is going on. And that is a facet of portion control. So I definitely do recommend an app as opposed to like the old school paper, pencil, food logs. Woof, glad those are done. The super tracker is also one, but it's not as user friendly and it's not as easy to use that my students don't like it. by and large, everybody kind of tends to go more towards the MyFitnessPal. So yes, I think an awareness piece is really important. But portion control in general, over time, there's this great presentation that's out there online called Portion Distortion. If you just Google it, I think there's actually 2 versions of the PowerPoint, and I'm hoping it's been updated by now. And I can't remember the organization that put it out, but it's interesting, speaking about awareness, to see how portions have changed in the last 20, 30 years, and how much larger everything is. And when we got to that point, I don't really know. So now it's become like the normal thing. Like a small today is like a large 25 years ago. So I think just as raising your level of awareness as to how much is 32 ounces. And I'm not a major fan of telling people measure your food. But I think if you are somebody that is struggling, or say you have a client that's struggling to understand portion control, find everyday objects that they can kind of picture, like a tennis ball or a deck of cards, a CD-ROM disc or something like that, to be able to make a connection between size and then what they're serving themselves. It is a good idea to have, like a kitchen scale, like a digital kitchen scale, so you can actually see what 4 ounces of meat might be. But I wouldn't say you have to do that task every day. But I think to raise your level of awareness, it's important to be able to understand what it looks like between a half a cup and a 3/4 cup.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love using the everyday objects. That's a really good one. Or even just sticking with whatever fits on your plate, and that's it. Yeah. Kind of keeping it simple. I think that, and the best way to kind of tie this food and portion, and if any of you have portion control strategies, please share them. Hi, Beth. Thanks for joining us today. Beth, I think, is in New Jersey. So what I wanted to say is that, all these portion control strategies are just an awareness tool. And I think the best way to control your portions, for me anyway, is to slow down and take my time when I'm eating. And it's, I think, sometimes a little easier to do during the holidays because you're sitting with lots of people. And if you just take pauses in between and pay attention to how your tummy's feeling and talk a little bit or talk a lot, you can definitely pay more attention to that full signal when it comes. Oh, Eric is here too. Awesome.
All right.
Joining us from New Jersey. So I think that slowing down is something that applies to what we talked about in the beginning, on the plate and off the plate. Just slowing down a little more and taking your time with whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's wrapping presents for your friends or if it is going out on a walk, like taking that time to slow down and pay more attention, I think it is a really great thing to do. And I think about, we always talk about kids because we're moms. And I think that if you look at babies and the way they eat and kids and the way they eat, like when they're full, they're done. And they will not put anything else in the tank. And so if we can all just act more like babies over the holidays, and we could throw some temper tantrums maybe, or sleep a little more. I think slowing down and really embracing more, because as I mentioned in the beginning of the show, I'm celebrating. This is one thing I'm celebrating right now, is that we are 1 month away from the turnaround point of the year, which is the winter solstice, which is December 21st. It's when the days stop getting shorter and they start getting longer. And I get so excited about this every year because it's been a long haul up till now. The days are getting shorter. I think the sun is setting at 4:50 here in Montana. And it's just like, oh man. But when I realize we only have a month left until they start getting longer again, I get excited because I'm like, all right, we're almost there, we're almost there. But so I want to remind everyone that like the days are getting shorter and it is a good time to slow down and you don't need to eat as much and rest a little bit more. And so just in general, that whole idea of slowing down, I think that's a big concept for portion control when you're eating, and then portion control with life, because this time of year, the schedules just fill up with events. Mm-hmm. So maybe we could talk a little bit about portion control with family activities.
I think that's really hard, depending. So, one of the things that I think you can do is, if you're not the host of it, because hosting is not for everybody. For some people, it creates way more anxiety and stress. And if you're one of those people, don't host. That's okay. Don't host. But I think contributing some different options, some different sides that are a little on the lighter side of things, like mashed sweet potatoes over, the traditional mashed potato. I mean, still have both for sure, but if you're trying to control it and you're trying to make some healthier options, certainly have something available. Try to remake a recipe with just a little less of this or, a little extra of that. So it's hard around the holidays because every celebration that we participate in is centered on food. That's just the way that it is. I mean, New Year's parties, it's all, it's always food and drinks. So being mindful of that. And I think one of the other ways to help with portion control is to make sure you stay hydrated. When you're dehydrated and you're thirsty, we tend to consume a whole lot more food, versus recognizing that, oh, maybe I just need a little bit of water. And oftentimes, if you feel hungry and you drink some water, that kind of satisfied feeling sets in, and that's really a clue that you were just dehydrated and maybe not hungry. And you could always use smaller plates versus, like your 12 to 16 inch, maybe it's an 8 to 10 inch plate for the holidays. Just those little things that can kind of be out of sight, out of mind. You don't need to announce, hey, we're using 8-inch plates, but just as a table setting, it doesn't need to be the gigantic buffet table style of plate. So little things like that it'll be completely out of your mind when you're serving up your Thanksgiving Day feast or Christmas or whatever it happens to be.
Yeah, I love that. I love the idea. Like, yeah, you don't need to host if you aren't feeling it. Like, don't put the pressure on yourself. And if you are the host, you don't have to have 10 different dishes at Thanksgiving.
No.
Just have 4, or you could have other people bring a dish, or there's definitely lots of ways to spread the stress or the tasks around. And yeah, that'd be great. So go like on Amazon, purchase some smaller, cute dishes, and don't like as the hostess, you could control everyone's portions.
Yes, you can. Oh,
like that. I want to acknowledge a couple of our commenters. Madison says, I was just about to say slowing down and taking time to listen to the cues my body is giving me. That is awesome.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. And Billy says ooze once. I don't know what that means, but
I think he maybe had a comment earlier.
On measured, place it in your palm. Oh, once
measured, place it in your palm.
Yeah, great tips, guys. Yeah, if anyone has any other tips about how they control food portions, we'd love to hear it. And so what other tips do we have for everyone about making the holidays a little bit, portion controlling the holidays, basically?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest, if you're going off to parties and say maybe you've got several Thanksgivings to go to, don't go hungry, don't go starving. Like, don't skip breakfast and lunch so you can, be gluttonous at the Thanksgiving Day feast. Don't do that. Just make sure you're fueling your body. And if you do that, your body is not going to crave the less healthy items. And by all means, enjoy. But you don't have to overindulge to still enjoy the holidays. Because then there's leftovers, and then Thanksgiving bleeds into Christmas, and then there's Christmas leftovers, and then there's New Year's, and then no wonder people don't stick to their New Year's resolutions because they're frustrated. So taking that time, I think, to have, like, if you're going to a party, maybe have a nice light snack before you get there. If you are attending a party and there's going to be a lot of different dishes there, fill your plate full, or not completely full, but just mostly with maybe some, hummus or whatever. It's like some of the lighter options that are available. And then maybe just sample the really, decadent, sinful things if that's what you want to do. Yeah. At least that way you're getting some fiber, you're getting some good nutrients, and it's not just all processed sugar, because if you do that, then you're going to be hungry later and probably continue to indulge in the less nutritious options.
Yeah, definitely just sample the decadence, because really the decadence, what it comes down to is the way it feels in your mouth. So just put that little bonbon in your mouth and keep it in there longer and enjoy that, and then fill yourself up with the foods that are going to fuel you, because at the end of the day, food's really for energy and for enjoyment. And so I think if we get a little bit of both, that's good. And yeah, the holidays, I think of them as like one big long weekend. Like,
Yeah.
on the weekends, a lot of times, like we were talking about in our sleep group, like, are we refueling on the weekend, or are we making ourselves more tired on the weekend? And I think at the holidays, the same thing. Like I know my husband is off for 4 days during Thanksgiving, not during Christmas because he works in the shipping industry, but during Thanksgiving he has off for 4 days, and we talk about like, what can we do during these 4 days to make it restful and rejuvenating and to go back to work and feel better. And in general, you do when you take time off from work, but how can you like enhance that and make it even better? And what do we want to do with that time? And we talk a lot about not getting on an airplane around Thanksgiving, because it's just, then by the time you get on the plane and go there and then readjust your sleep schedule, like with the time zone, and then come home, it can be really stressful. So we like just staying around where we live. But then on a smaller scale, like what are you doing with those 4 days off? Like, how can you use that time? And do you need to be at that Thanksgiving dinner all day with your family? Like, is that going to make you feel rejuvenated, or will it be better to, and this is where I think about portion control with life, is like, how can you portion control your Thanksgiving day? Like, what can you do with that day off? I know a lot of people do like a turkey trot, or they go for a run in the morning, and maybe not spend the whole day with family if it's not going to refresh you.
Right.
Kind of, you do some things for yourself, do some things with your family, and then, get to bed a little earlier. And yeah, just what does your portion control plate look like? Like if you have one of those plates that has like the slices on it, I picture, and like, what are you filling that big section up with, and what are you filling the smaller sections up with?
Yeah, because one of the things I think, it's almost like once November 1st hits, it's go, 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 because we're Christmas shopping and we're planning for Thanksgiving and we're traveling and we're entertaining or we're being entertained, some facet of the above. And I think we don't recognize often that it requires a lot of energy for the body to repair itself. And so if you're expending all of your necessary energy throughout the day and overcommitted and just overindulging in too much, social time, I mean, being around people takes work, because you're entertaining, or, you're socializing and catching up with friends, which is all amazing. And I love doing that. But I think giving yourself a break, and it's okay to protect your energy. It's okay to say, we're going to stop by for just a little bit, but here's the deal. Like, we're just exhausted. Be honest about it. Be authentic about it. I don't have any problems telling somebody, I'm just really exhausted. Do you mind if we do this another day? If they want to be mad, they can be mad. That's their emotion to bear, not mine. But I think it's important that you recognize that you can't pour from an empty cup for yourself. So you want to be at your best and you want to enjoy it to the best of your ability, and just know that don't partition out so many pieces of yourself that you don't make healthier choices at the party or at the feast or whatever the case is. And just allow yourself, be good to your body, be good to your mind. Take a break, take a nap, read a book, take a bath, like whatever floats your boat kind of a thing, whatever's your jam, do it and use that time. It's okay to take an hour here and there to rejuvenate.
Yeah. I'm going to take a second and try to close this shade. Like, I can't go. There we go. I'm like, I can't even see myself anymore. And you know what, for me, like, I'm such a social butterfly. Like, I love hanging out with my friends and family, and I will just push and push and keep going and going. Yeah. So I think doing those things ahead of time for yourself, like doing them on the front end, that way by the time, and just be a little bit late. Cause I know me, like, I have a hard time leaving when the party's over. Unless it's like really late at night. I'm like, oh, I just want to keep hanging out with you, because I get a lot of energy from the people I like spending time with. So I think fitting those things that you're talking about in, or making a rule, like I have to have it black and white, like, we go home at 7:00, period, end of story. Like, that's, but it's, and there's nothing wrong with getting sucked in and hanging out. Fun.
No, it happens to me all the time. I'll be home at X, and then 2 hours later I walk in the door and I'm like, I got caught up. I got excited.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So those are some things that I think about or I implement for myself because I just love people. I want to bring up, Angie says, tiny portions of everything you want, sample it all, wait 3 hours, gab, sort through sale flyers, help with cleanup, enjoy a walk, and then go back for lesser tiny portions of the things you really liked.
I like that, Angie. Good tip right there.
And then Beth says, fill up on crudites. What's a crudite?
Yeah, like chopped veggies and yeah.
Oh, right. Like crude vegetable. Fill up on veggies before dinner so you're not ravenous. Yeah, totally. I've spent a lot of time with Beth traveling, and she's just so great at monitoring what she eats. She always keeps me on track.
We all need that person. Or do you really want to put that in your mouth?
Yeah. Well, I just watch what she's doing, and yeah, it's great to have. It's great to have friends and family who are healthy and eating healthy, but sometimes you're the one leading the way. So I like the idea of buying smaller dishes or, getting smaller plates.
Yeah. And portion control, I mean, so much of it is a psychological component, like we were saying, the mindfulness, the awareness. And we tend to eat at the speed of those we're around. And so if everybody's eating really fast, you unconsciously eat faster. So that's where you have to raise your level of awareness. And the same thing we take cues from like the size of a serving dish. And I think I've mentioned this in one other show that we've done. It's mindless eating. So you have a, huge crock pot full of mashed potatoes, then you tend to serve a little bit more. Not everybody does this, but I'm just saying in terms of generalities and human behavior and human consumer psychology, that's what we do. We take cues from the size of the dish or the package or the plate. And if we take cues from people around us, so if this person gets thirds, I might as well do thirds and clump it right down on the plate. So this is not right or wrong. It's just that's something to be aware of so that you kind of go into any kind of gathering with just that mental kind of note that, maybe I need to listen internally to the cues that my body is telling me. Because how many of us get to the point where we eat too fast, we're gabbing, we're drinking, and then at the end of the day, we're exhausted and we feel like we need three sizes up in jeans because we've got distended bellies.
10 days of sleep.
Oh yeah. So, and I think that's another good point with portion control is just making sure that you're rested. Portion control your sleep as well. Because like we've said before, there's really no catching up. There's only re-regulating and kind of getting your body back to that rhythm. And when you're fatigued, you're stressed and your cortisol is high and you tend to crave those less nutritious options. It's really the simple sugars that the brain really wants to have when it's fatigued. So portion control your sleep too. And that's another way to portion control what's on the plate.
That's a good point. Getting that sleep helps everything. So, and I like to think of this analogy that I use often when I'm coaching, and I actually, it's like basically you have a jar and you're going to fill it up with rocks and you only have that one jar to fill up. And so if you have a bunch of big rocks and some medium rocks and then like sand, you put the big rocks in the jar first because they're not going to fit later. And then you put the medium rocks in and they kind of take up a little less room, but then you pour the sand over because the sand always fits. It always goes in. And the analogy is that those big rocks are the important things. So what's most important to you and what is going to, not even just what's most important to you, but what's going to fuel everything else. So like sleep and exercise, they can help with everything else, like regulate your mood, make your life more enjoyable. So put those big rocks in the jar first. And then there's always room for the other stuff, especially if you had already put those big rocks in. So I think just slowing down this time of year and recognizing what are the priorities, especially with the shorter days. Like if I only have so much time in a day, what's most important? And same thing with your plate. Like if you only have so much room on your plate, like what are the big rocks? Like what are the things that are going to make you feel energetic the rest of the day that you can eat? And then those little things, there's always room for that chocolate cake or pump. There's always room. Like we always make room for it. So definitely saving those for last. And Beth says, don't wear loose pants to Thanksgiving dinner. Tighter clothing will keep you from overindulging. Ooh, I like it, Beth.
So true. I'm gonna put on my skinny jeans then.
Learning all the secrets. That's a good one.
Awesome point. It really is. So nobody go wearing their old maternity pants or gigantic sweatpants.
Yeah, totally. Myra says, I love the analogy, Bev. What are the big rocks? I think I kind of covered it, but the big rocks are, what are the big rocks for you, Erin?
So for me, it would be definitely health is a big rock for me. So making sure that I prioritize taking care of my own health and my family's health. And I think time to obviously sleep, time to do something that I enjoy doing. And it's a way for me to like set those energetic boundaries, knowing my limits, and I'm better at it on some days than I am at others. Cause I tend to push and push and push, but yeah, it's those types of things that I know if those rocks, so to speak, are taken care of, then I'm so much more available in other ways to focus on a project or work, or, I'm better with my students, and, I have more energy to do all of these other really fun things that I want to do if I know that I have kind of taken care of my center, like what centers me the most.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think those big rocks, they look different for everybody. And that's okay. But I think the biggest point is making sure that you know what your big rocks are.
Yeah.
Because I know when I have a super hectic schedule or, teaching 25 credits in one semester, I feel like all of it has to get done now. Instead, I just need to take a step back. Okay, what are the Q1, the biggest things, the big fires that need to be put out so that these other things can thrive and function? So it's those little reminders that we have to give ourselves. And I mean, for me, I like to have like little motivational sayings here and there. Like I'll jot it down in my planner, or, a mantra or a fight song or something like that to keep me on track, to keep my focus and remind me, breathe, don't panic. And asking myself again, what are those big rocks? And those big rocks might change for you daily, depending on what role you have in life.
Yeah. Yeah. We use this all the time as work from home mamas. Like we got to decide each day what needs to get done today, because you never know how the day is going to unfold with the kiddos. Like sometimes they take over. And so I always, every day, I'm like, what really needs to get done today? And then what are the things that I'll do if I have time? And I think just applying that to your life, like what, and over the holidays, like if over the holidays you only have enough time to do a few things, what do you really want to get done? Like, I know this time of year, a lot of people get caught up on like the Christmas card thing, like filling up. And I used to get sucked into that trap too, like 50 Christmas cards, like filling them out, signing them. And recently my husband and I asked ourselves, especially with having the baby, we're like, is this really what I want to spend my time doing? Like filling out these millions of cards and sending them to people that I don't really talk to. So we really like kind of narrowed in on, and this year we're doing something a little different where we're just sending a little gift to some people that are close to us, and that's it, and not doing the like 50 to 60. But I know people are like, oh, I got to get my Christmas cards done. It's like, do you have to get your Christmas cards done? Is that really something that's going to like give back to you, or, or decorating your house? Like, does decorating the house bring you joy, or is it just another thing on your list? And so I think just asking ourselves, like, what do I really want to feel, accomplish, do, or not do this holiday? And just bringing that awareness in and that mindfulness in ahead of time, and having that conversation with your spouse or your family members, and deciding like let's not just do it because it's a tradition, or just do it because that's what people do. Let's do it because it's really going to make us happy and fuel us. Yeah. And then if you're not filling out all those stinking Christmas cards, you might have time to like call grandma and call a few people. Normally have time to call, and they might really appreciate that. Even
and the postage, like, good Lord. Yeah, I stopped sending Christmas cards probably 10 years ago.
Yeah,
I'll admit it. I don't do it. But that's a personal choice. I love receiving them. So I think it's great if there are people out there that can do that. Like, I'm just not that organized, and I learn not to guilt myself either.
Yeah. And some people love it. And if you love it, that's awesome. But just
like people that can make their own cards, I think, oh my gosh, I'm in awe at the talent. I have this one friend who I've known forever who's such an artist, and she creates these beautiful, beautiful Christmas cards. And I keep them. Like they're beautiful. They're handmade. I do not have that kind of time, nor do I have that kind of talent. Like if I draw you anything, it'll be a stick figure. Nobody needs that in their house. Okay. Nobody needs to put that on their fridge. I'm probably going to call you or text you or send you like, you know, a box of chocolates or I don't know, something small. But yeah, I can't do the Christmas card thing.
Yeah.
Nope. It's been portioned out.
Yeah, I think that like, yeah, as we kind of wrap up today, like we could leave our listeners and watchers with something like, you know, tell us one thing that you're not going to do this holiday, or like one food that you're not going to eat. Like you're just like, I'm not eating that food, you know, just going to avoid that one food or that one thing. And then tell us something that's like super, super important to you, like that brings you lots of joy, that like you will say yes to first and foremost constantly. So if you want to share that with us, go for it. Like I'm trying to think, who am I going to say no to this holiday now that I put the challenge out there?
Yeah.
I already say no to so many foods. I'm like, I don't know if I can find one, but
yeah, I love food. So
I definitely
I don't tend to like live in a uber restricted way. I just believe in balance and moderation and enjoyment. I mean, food is meant to fuel and it's meant to heal and nourish.
Yeah, I'm going to say no to overeating. That's for sure. Yeah. When you go to like a holiday celebration, there's so many things to try, and I'm going to just pick the things I really want to try. Like when you go to a restaurant, you're like, if I can't make it at home, I'm going to try it, basically.
Yeah, such a good rule right there. Like if it's some like decadent dish or, you know, something that's kind of exotic that you know you couldn't make, heck yeah, dive right in, enjoy that.
Yeah.
I think for me, I'm going to say no to putting too much pressure on myself because I do that. I like feel like all of it needs to get done. And if I don't do this, then, well, I don't want somebody else waiting on me but I think like you said before, it's a time to slow down. It's a time to reflect and let go and just plan for growth later on. You know, when the new year hits, that's when the growth can happen. But we've reached an end of a year. It's kind of like at an end of a race. This is your cool down. This is time to just breathe, stretch it on out, do some yoga, take a nap. I don't know. Lay on your couch for a little while and just think, just ponder. Like, and maybe now is a really good time to re-identify your big rocks. You know, that changes from year to year. It changes from time to time. I mean, based on where we are in life, and every year we're at a different place. At least we hope that we are. So now is the time.
I don't think I can add anything to that. That was the perfect closing.
Thank you. It just came to me. I don't know.
It was so heartfelt, beautiful. Like, yeah, I think that's what we're going to leave you guys with today for, you know, before Thanksgiving. If you want to share anything else with us, please do. If you have ideas for future episodes, always leave those in the comments. We're probably going to talk about stress reduction next week. Maybe some cortisol. We'll see. But tune in. You can subscribe to our show so you get updates. But we're here every Wednesday, 11:30 Mountain Time, 1:30 Eastern Time. And I'm going to throw in the comments our YouTube collection. If you want to go back and watch any of our previous episodes, if you're just learning about us, you can go and watch those. They're all there. We talk about alcohol, we talk about sleep, all these different topics. So please leave anything in the comments, and we will see you next week after the holiday.
Yes, enjoy your Thanksgiving.
Bye, everyone.